Thank you. My name is Enghebatu Togochog. I'm a Mongolian, born in southern Mongolia and grew up in southern Mongolia. Sometimes known as, most of the time known as Inner Mongolia, unfortunately. And I talked about the difference between southern Mongolia and Inner Mongolia many times in many occasions, but so today I don't want to repeat it again. And I went to Japan in 1998 and I studied there for a while, and then I came to the United States in the same year, and I got the political asylum in 1999, and in 2001 I and my colleagues established the Southern Mongolian Human Rights Information Center. It's an organization based in New York. Our organization has been working to promote and protect the human rights of the Mongolian people in Southern Mongolia, and we have been active in spreading information and gathering information on the human rights status, human rights violations of Mongolian people in Southern Mongolia. And last year, we have been very active in spreading the word of May protest, the protests by the Mongolian herders and students in South Mongolia last year. And in May 31st, we were honored by the Chinese authorities as a foreign hostile force back in the May protest. So this afternoon we have panel discussions. I'll talk more about the May protest, and so I guess that's it. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Dr. Yang Jianli and the initiatives for China for inviting our Mongolian delegates and providing us with an opportunity to express our concerns and exchange our ideas with our fellow Tibetan friends, Uyghur brothers and sisters, and Chinese friends also. So our Mongolian delegates have been attending this very special meeting for almost every year since its very beginning, and we like the idea Dr. Yang Jianli and the initiative for China came up for providing a platform for exchanging ideas between all ethnic groups. Well, I rather call it all nations, and interfaith groups concerning China. So the very idea of this conference, which is to initiate dialogue among Mongolians, Tibetans, Uyghurs, Chinese, Taiwanese, and other groups, and to improve mutual understanding, mutual trust, and mutual respect, and to encourage and support non-violence resistance movement. And they have been very, very inspirational to not only the Chinese, but also Mongolians, Tibetans, and Uyghurs. In fact, last year, almost a year ago, Mongolian delegates were here in Los Angeles, and at the meeting, we talked about the non-violent resistance movement status of Mongolian people in southern Mongolia, and we also mentioned the human rights conditions, in particular the environmental issues of southern Mongolia. And shortly after the meeting in May 2011, a major non-violent resistance movement took place in southern Mongolia, sparked by the death of Mr. Mergen, a Mongolian herder who was brutally killed by a Chinese coal hauling truck. And a large-scale region-wide demonstrations, peaceful demonstrations started in southern Mongolia. And the protest quickly spread across the nation of southern Mongolia, and thousands of students and herders took to the streets, and they demanded the basic human rights and fundamental freedom of the Mongolian people in southern Mongolia. And the major cities, including the Shilinghot and Tongliao, Ortus, Ulanhat, and the regional, of course, the regional capital Hot, the students and the ordinary Mongolian residents took to the street, and they shouted slogans, and they demanded their basic human rights. They demanded the Chinese government respect human rights of the Mongolians and defend protect their homeland. And in response to this large-scale demonstration, the Chinese authorities acted very quickly. On one hand, to try to calm the anger of Mongolian people by acknowledging some of their demands, and on the other hand, the Chinese authorities mobilized a large scale of riot police and paramilitary forces to put down the protests. Martial law was declared in the major cities, including Hohhot, Shilinghot, Tongliao, Ulanhat, and Ortus, and schools, colleges were locked up, and streets and squares were sealed shut. And this movement is very typical non-violent resistance movement, and it had all characteristics of typical non-violent resistance movement. One, there was no centralized organizer or leader. It was purely organized by the people themselves. So the Chinese government was trying to find who's the main organizer or leader. They couldn't find anybody because this is the mass movement. This is by people themselves. So second, the demand was very clear, and they said, and they're very clear and specific. They asked for the government to respect their rights and protect their homeland, protect the grassland, and protect the grassland ecosystem, and stop the irrational mining operation. And they didn't mention anything about independence and anything about self-determination. Third, that the means of the protest was very peaceful, and making it very difficult for the Chinese authorities to find any excuse to open fire or carry out bloody crackdown. So number four, the method of the communication is very similar to that of Arab Spring movements. So students, including middle school students, high school students, and college students, they organize themselves through social media, including instant messaging system, QQ emails, internet discussion forums, and text messaging. Even ordinary Mongolian herders, they text each other about the attending the protest and joining the protest. So this is very similar to the way of recent non-violent resistance movement, especially in Egypt, Tunisia, and other part of the world. So this is about the May protest last year, and I would like to mention another example of Southern Mongolia non-violent movement, resistance movement, which is the case of Mr. Hada and Mrs. Ho Chung-ho. As you all know, Mr. Hada was sentenced to 15 years in prison in 1995, and his prison term ended in December 10th, 2010, but he was not freed, and the Chinese authorities arrested his wife, Ms. Shina, and also their son, Mr. Willis, and currently Mrs. Shina is still under detention, and Mr. Hada is in a secret prison in suburban Hohhot, and Mr. Willis, their son, is still under house arrest. After a few months ago, he was released from the detention. And so another case is Mrs. Ho Chung-ho. She's a decision writer, long-term human rights activist, and an outspoken critic of Chinese ethnic policy in Southern Mongolia. She was also arrested in November 2010 for rallying the Mongolians to welcome Mr. Hada, and so she was arrested for this reason, and she's still under detention somewhere in an undisclosed place in Southern Mongolia. And recently we received some information from Southern Mongolia, some pictures, photos, showing that she was brutally beaten up Chinese police in detention, and her current health condition and whereabouts is still unknown. So all these brave and courageous Mongolian hardened dissidents are excellent example of Southern Mongolian non-violent resistance. The Chinese authorities already talked to members of Hada family, including himself, his wife, and his son, saying that if you sign the paper just saying that you made mistake, and then we will free you. But Hada said, no, I never committed any crime, and I will sue you, sue the Chinese authority, sue the Public Security Bureau after I'm free. So he's not cooperating. This is very typical non-cooperation, which is part of a non-violent movement. So they are fighting for not only for their own freedom, but also the national freedom. So they are surviving very, very harsh punishment, like cruel tortures and physical ordeals through their soul force, and through their belief of justice and freedom and human dignity. So I'm personally very optimistic about the future of South Mongolians, even though the situation of Southern Mongolia is least known among several other nations, occupied nations, I call Tibet, East Turkestan, and South Mongolia. But I'm personally very optimistic about the future of Southern Mongolia non-violent resistance movement. Thank you.